beginner party mentality. You heard this from Bob, and I've adopted it because I like to think of myself as Bob is my mentor. When I go to a party, I mean, no,
That's Bob.
I know that one too.
They're both bald.
Yeah. I was told many, many years ago when I started this thing that when I grew up square dancing, we round danced, we contra danced, we square danced, we did a little ballroom dancing all in the same place at the same time.
Shottage,
Shottage, waltz, all this sort of stuff. You know, this is what I grew up liking, and I still do. When I do a party, as I said, I do more than just square dancing. I have absolutely no feeling or obligation on my part to try and take the people in a party situation and prepare them for modern Western square dancing. I teach the basics as defined by Collar Lab. Frankly, I don't worry about them understanding the nuances. I've found it's remarkably easy to get them to time, which of course is not modern Western square dancing anymore. You know, we're 1, 2, 3, high five, back, 2, 3, clap. I'm finding even now at this particular time, I'm still getting 50 to 60% of the people who will time, and about 40% of the people at parties who just don't understand it and won't do it. But you know, if I can get 60%, then that to me is a gain. It's just, you know, I think my only objective is to have a party and for them to have fun dancing. I aim for the maximum amount of dancing and the least amount of teaching. I use basically the 7 basics that we've got up here on the wall. The rest of the stuff I will use depending on my temperament in the night, my attitude. I always go with a plan, but I'll be honest with you, I would say 60% of the time I have to throw the plan out the door. Because either the physical setup they told me is different, the people are told me is different, there's been moves I didn't expect, all these sort of things, I have to pitch it out the door. If I can, I always like to start out in a big circle, but keep in mind I have to throw it out 60% of the time, I mean 40% of the time. You know, my preference is to put them in a big circle or a group of big circles. That's what I like to do. If I can't do that, I just get them out on the floor as partners and we do things. Star right, star left, do-sa-do, 2-hand turn, until I can get some more people coming out on the floor. I have to be flexible sometimes. I very seldom do, I spend the first 20 minutes of the night worrying at all about a male-female partners if I worry about it at all through the night at all. I say get a partner, get out on the floor. You know, a lot of times the women will get up and they'll look at their husband will go up. And so say, fine, I don't care whether the man wants to sit or not, get a partner, get out on the floor. And after the first couple of times, you know, the guy is sitting there going, and his wife is able to coax him out on the floor. Stuff like bob pulls where you turn your back and say, go get somebody new is effective. But when it comes down to it, I don't worry about the people that don't want to dance. I worry about the people that do want to dance. You know, I don't beg them. If we end up with 6 squares there and 1 square wants to start the first dance, fine. You know, the funny thing is the people came in the door and paid their money and they're sitting there for some reason.
They just might.
You know, and later on they may want to dance. There are nights where I've showed up where I've had 3 people show up ready for the first dance. Well, do you start on time or not? Yes, you start on time, I think. And so we do solo dances. You know, you get groups of people that are going to dribble in over the first hour. And so I do solo dances, where I get something going to get the people out on the floor moving to music. You know, that's just happens to be my philosophy. I used to agonize terribly when I couldn't get people up. Had a heart attack, learned not to do that. You know, so amazing how you can change your attitude if you really want to. To me, music makes a dance. I'm not a good musician, but I'm a heartfelt musician in the fact I love music. I want to have pieces of music that are blocked into recognizable groups of 4 or 8 beats, I don't want to have to guess. Some of the stuff you were playing yesterday, Clark, you know, I could not find the phrase. I figure if the people can't find the phrase, I can't find the phrase, the people I'm calling to are hopeless. You know, I want to have it to the place of where it thumps in my ear. I feel absolutely no obligation to use modern, the so-called folk modern music. I use some, but I have no obligation to it. I had a caller in California send me several recordings on the CD-ROM the other day that he uses for beginner tape, and I'm very highly complimentary of the videotape he did. But he had 2 pieces of music on there I couldn't use to save my soul. Now that's me, because I think in 4s and 8s when I dance. And I mean, there's just no other way for me to think. I think in 4s and 8s. I call in 4s and 8s, which is probably why I'm not a very popular mainstream caller these days. Because that's the way that my whole mentality goes. I think there is a myth out there that kids or young people want to have their kind of music. Because my observation at parties is the fact that when you put on something like Ain't She Sweet, Just Coming Down the Street, that you will be able to watch lips out there going, Ain't she sweet, just coming down the street. They know the music, they know the words. The little bitty kids know the words. The teenagers know the words. I mean, they do. It's the music and the arrangement that counts. It's the instrumentation and the way it's put together that counts. It's not whether it's a modern beat, it's not whether it's hip-hop or not. It's all the other things that go on. Part of the problem has come out of this, and we get into discussion on the email group every once in a while about this. Most of the music that has been designed in the last 15 to 20 years has been designed for people sitting in a chair. Not for people out dancing on the floor. Think about it. They're sitting in a car or sitting in a chair or sitting in a concert chair of some kind. They're not designed for people out on the floor. They have, I don't know, you know, I'm not a good musician, but I tinker around it and play with it. They have little extra notes that are stuck in here and there. They have things that go faster. They have things that go slower. They have uneven groupings of the bars of music within a melody tune. And they're made for listening. They're marvelous for listening. They suck for dancing. In my opinion. I should always add that. And so I don't feel the obligation to try and use them. When I find a piece that's good, I use a Big Cadillac, which I guess probably isn't modern anymore. It's probably 15 years back. You know, I use a bunch of other stuff that I've picked up over the years that I have a great deal of fun with. Kids still respond to things very well, like Electric Boogie, Car Wash. Got another half dozen on here if you want to hear them and hear what they sound like. But they respond very well to these sort of things. To me, don't seem to have any resentment. I've talked to my grandkids about this. You know, I've got two grandsons that have grown up around classical music, have played in the band and played in the orchestra. They don't have any particular prejudice about music. They listen to the same hip-hop junk as the rest, listen to the same hip-hop as the rest of the adults. But they, you know, I think it's a myth. I think there's a certain group of kids that don't want to hear this. I don't think it's a large group. There's too much going on around. If this were true, would river dance be the huge popularity it is?
Amen. That did more good for dancing than anything.
If this were true, what sort of music would you hear during great movies? Right? If this were true, what would the leaders play? You know what a trailer is for a movie? Listen to the music for the trailers. It's orchestra music. It's music with a strong beat. Well, I get ticked when we get put down for our music because I see too many people responding to it in other venues. And I will fault a great deal of the recording industry within the square dance community for not putting together modern arrangements of that music. But there's a difference. Do you understand?
Yes.
You get a good feel for the difference between what we have and what would be in modern arrangement. You know, and the thing is, it's so simple. You can sit there on a keyboard and get access to any one of 3,000 plus instruments.
That's another one
And
of
you
his
can layer
toys.
them on up to 16 tracks.
That's another toy.
Yeah, layer them on up to 16 tracks. And I'll admit, I'm not good enough to do that. But I know of people out there who are. You don't have to hire a band. Hire one musician that's good at that.